All right. Good morning. Good morning. It's time for 1 million cups. Woo! All right. So let's see. We've got a pretty reasonable crowd here today. At least the parking lot was full, so maybe something else is going on, but I don't believe that. It's all here about 1 million cups. Who's here for the first time? Lots of you. Well, welcome to 1 million cups. Let me tell you a little bit about how this works. Every week, every Wednesday at 9 a.m., we have two presenters. We divide our hour into two halves. Each presenter has 6 minutes to talk about themselves, give them a short presentation about what they do and why they're awesome. And then we give them 20 minutes to, for us as a group, to grill them with really amazing questions and good stuff. So since we're running a little late, with no further ado, I'm going to jump right into this. So our first presenters today it's kind of interesting. They are a group of volunteers, and they kind of come from a diversified background. But what they all do is they come together as a nonprofit to assist other nonprofits in event coordination, social media, PR. Well, they'll tell you all about it. So please welcome to 1 Million Cups this morning, Social Heart.
Good morning, thank you for coming. My name is Julie Ray and I work at Greg Advertising.
Good morning, I'm Luke Wade, I work at VML.
And I'm Beth Ott, I'm with Crawford Architects. The three of us actually started fundraising together a couple years ago through a campaign with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society called the Man and Woman of the Year campaign. That campaign is a 10-week program, or a campaign, basically a race to see who can raise the most money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Our team last year was awesome enough to raise $27,000 in 10 weeks, and it kind of started a conversation afterwards. We all discussed that we really loved the fundraising, the event planning, and doing more for our community and making Kansas City a better place. And through that discussion, we decided to form our own nonprofit called Social Heart, and we founded last June. Our first event was last November, and since then we have raised over $31,000 and have had over about 800 people to our events. So we really pride ourselves in the fact that we do not charge for our services. So we depend on our awesome volunteers and awesome sponsors to make all of our events happen. As you can see up here, our services include anywhere from coordinating the actual event from the start to the end. We also assist other charities with their events. We do anywhere from social media to volunteer coordination. If a charity comes to us and they need volunteers, we'll find volunteers for them. And then of course we also do graphic design, web support, things like that. So
as Beth mentioned, we pride ourselves in the events that we throw. Like she said, from start to finish, it can be a tedious process. We're basically event planners, and we do it for a different nonprofit here in Kansas City each time. So with this event, the YouTube Viewers' Choice Awards, we pride ourselves in also throwing really unique events that haven't taken place. I know we all love going to a different ball and rubbing shoulders with who's who in Kansas City, but sometimes it gets stuffy and you get tired of it. So what we decided to do was throw really unique events. This event started actually with a group of us talking about the fact that there are so many YouTube videos out there that we've seen that we want to share with our friends. So we decided to have each person that was coming to the event submit 2 videos. We actually got over, I think, 100 videos the first year we did this, and we have a judges panel of kind of the who's who in Kansas City. They narrowed down the videos to about 50, and last year we did this at Screenland, and we actually gave it to a local cancer patient. We raised $1,000. And this year, we're aiming for about 200 people at the event, and we've already secured the Alamo Draft House. So that's in November, so make sure you keep an eye out for that one. The next event that we threw was a vintage prom. This started 2 years ago in a courtyard. It's basically a throwback classic. You pick a decade and you come sporting that decade, so from the 20s to the 90s. Last year we were lucky enough to get Clearton as a sponsor. Boulevard has been very generous to our organization, and we actually ended up raising $3,000 for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. The next event, which is actually leading into a very big event that Luke is going to tell you about, we threw a masquerade party, and this was really fun. We secured the Beast Haunted House in the West Bottoms. This event actually brought in over 400 people. As you can see, everyone sported their masks. This was really awesome as well. We were able to get Boulevard as a sponsor again, Dark Horse Distillery. We had Tanners come through for food, Viper Sauce. We had some amazing volunteers, and we ended up actually raising $7,000 for Cultivate Kansas City. And if you haven't heard of them, they're an awesome nonprofit here in Kansas City as well.
So some of our future events coming up this year and next year are a day at Gillis benefiting the Gillis Center, Table for Two, a progressive speed dating event, the Breakfast Bowl benefiting Urban Growth KC, Adult Onesie Lock-In benefiting Sleepyhead Beds. And if you have questions about these, feel free to ask us, but what I really want to focus on is our 2014 Mardi Gras. Like Julie said, this started with a masquerade party at the Beast Haunted House, but I don't know if anyone's been to St. Louis for their Mardi Gras. It's very, very big, and I know a lot of friends, including myself, go almost every year. Well, I started to fall in love with Kansas City when I moved here 5 years ago and thought, why doesn't Kansas City have a Mardi Gras? So after our masquerade party was a great hit down in the West Bottoms, we decided why not escalate it up to a parade and turn it into something that Kansas City is known for. So we've already started planning. We actually have a committee of around 15 people who've started planning out an actual parade. But being social art, being the nonprofit lovers that we are, we're going to completely focus it around charity. So we're looking for 20 companies. We already have one on board, and every company basically pays to have a float in the parade. Each company puts in $1,000, which equals $20,000, but every company has to have a charity backing, so a 501c3 charity. The winner of the parade actually gets the $20,000 donated to the charity that they're sponsoring. We're also going to have the vendors, the party tents, things like that. Inc. has already come on board to do the sponsorship. We're going to have an Inc. stage in the VIP tent area. There will be a large party tent, and it will follow up with our event that we had last year as well, with the masquerade party from 8 p.m. to midnight at the Beast Haunted House. And again, I know it says 2013, but it's actually going to be Saturday, March 1st, 2014. And I finished 20 seconds early.
Nice. There you go.
So questions? I'm not sure how it works after this.
Thank you very much, Social Heart. Sorry, you caught us unexpected. All right, questions for Social Heart.
So I have a question. So how do you guys, this takes a lot of your time, I assume, and I know that people do a lot of volunteering and out of your heart, i.e. the name, but how do you see this going on, and how do you guys support you doing this maybe as more of a full-time gig or having a crew that is dedicated to this for your nonprofit? It's a business at a certain point,
Well, one of the first things, which I don't think we really mentioned, was we really came at this as a younger perspective. So our demographics, 21 to around 35. We'll welcome anybody, but that's our typical demographic. And whereas in that age group, not all of us can write a $5,000 check, but we're all going to go out, we're all going to have a good time, we're all going to go to and have fun. So that's where we target the younger group. And obviously we're not going to stay young forever. So our goal is to actually be mentors and help bring in new groups of younger people who have the same mind frame that we do, teach them how to do this, and eventually hand it off to them. So I don't know that we're necessarily looking to do this forever or be on this forever, or we just really wanted to start something that really just helps the community in Kansas City.
Yeah, we've started a board. We started building a board, so just plan on to keep growing that. So.
Question for you back here.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I get the presentation a little bit about what you guys are up to, but what's the problem that we're trying to solve here? What's the reason that this thing got started in the first place?
I wouldn't call it a problem. Oh, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing. When we first started, as Beth mentioned, she mentioned that we started with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, and they had this, Man, Woman of the Year competition, essentially. And what we were realizing is that Kansas City has some really awesome nonprofit organizations that are already out there. And especially with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, they have such a huge network through the actual campaign that we ended up raising $27,000 for. They ultimately raised nearly $500,000. That is amazing, and we decided instead of putting all of our apples in one basket and giving to one organization that maybe already has the support that it needs, we need to start giving our resources and our talents to maybe some smaller nonprofits, like Urban Growth Kansas City, that doesn't get a lot of exposure. The problem isn't necessarily that they can't raise the money, it's that we want to help those smaller organizations get to that bigger place, and we know that we have the talents and the resources to get them there ultimately.
And also getting people involved. A lot of people like the 21 to 35, that age group. There's a lot of people that want to get involved, but they don't really know exactly where to start. So we're basically providing fun activities for them to come, and then if they're interested in that charity, they can come to us and be like, I want to learn more, I want to help. So.
And what we've noticed in starting is that a lot of charities are still focused on the galas, the 1 year gala, let's raise all our money that year, when fundraising is actually a full-time job, and they're not doing very well at targeting younger donors who they could actually secure for life, a lifetime donor if they really are interested in that event. So we've noticed a lot of charities are having problems getting younger donors on board.
Next question in the back here.
Hi there, this just sounds like a wonderful organization. I've worked with many nonprofits over the decades now, and I know it's very difficult to get an event pulled off, so that's a wonderful gift. And the second gift of being able to access a younger demographic is a wonderful thing that we're all looking for. So my question is, could you talk a little bit about the relationship between the net that you state on your many slides and your expenses? Many of the events I've been part of come close to breaking even, maybe make a little bit off of that.
That's where we pride ourselves. We do not charge for our services at all. We are 100% volunteer based. So we depend highly 100% on sponsors. If it weren't for our sponsors, we would not be able to have our events. So we
because we have no budget whatsoever, we strive at getting everything donated. So luckily we have awesome sponsors like Boulevard, like Inc. Magazine, like the Roastery, things like that just give us things. And because we're targeting a younger demographic, they're able to also reach that younger demographic because we do email blasts, social medias, and we treat our sponsors very well because they treat us well. For example, last year when we threw our vintage prom, we threw it at a different location that gave it to us for free. This year when we came back, they actually wanted to charge us money, and we said, we're sorry, we can't do that because we want to ultimately raise more money for the charity. So this year, the Roastery donated the space, which was actually an upgrade, so we actually benefited from saying no to paying for a space. So it doesn't always hurt to say no.
Yeah, and one thing we've learned is that you can get every item in your event for free. I know it sounds insane. If one company doesn't give it to you for free, the next one will, especially when you pay back your sponsors, which is a big part of a typical presentation that we do. We actually talk about what we give back to our sponsors and what that package looks like, and we are very generous back to our sponsors. So we haven't had a problem. We've been really fortunate in locking down those sponsors every time. So you can get it
Question up here in the front.
With the money you raise, what follow-up is done for your donors to show how that money's been used and how it's benefiting the organizations?
Yeah, it's been let's see. The first event that we put on actually went to an individual, an individual here in Kansas City who has cancer, and he was laid off right before his job. So that one we knew exactly where it went. It's one of those. We do need to make.
That's something we can do better.
Yes,
typically, we'll send an email out after our events. We basically go and do a large check presentation. We did that with Cultivate KC. We always blast it on Facebook and all our social medias. But we'll send an email we actually did a video with Steve. When we gave him the money, he actually did a video thanking all the donors and everything like that. But I think that's something we probably could do better because a lot of times, when you donate a check to charity, even we don't know where that goes. You're not sure where it goes. But so I think that's something we could do better. But we typically try and send an email and letting everyone know. We also have the charity be a large part of our events. So at the masquerade party, granted we had over 400 people there all in their get-ups, dancing and partying, we take time to stop the party and let our charity actually speak for about 5 minutes. So it's also letting everyone get to know exactly what we're doing this for. Yeah, we're here to have a great time, but it's also doing something great for someone else.
And specifically, we do ask the charities that we approach what they're looking to raise funds for. So when we did our date auction last year, we actually raised $12,500 for the Women's Foundation. They actually write their grants at the end of the year, so we raised it in February of this year. We will find out at the end of the year what grant that will go to. So the really awesome thing is we've collected an entire list of emails from that actual event. And ideally, we send out an email blast saying this is the actual grant that it went to support here in Kansas City, whether that was local Catholic charities or whatever the case may be. So we've been providing follow-up. Also, our event this fall is actually for Urban Growth Kansas City, and they're actually using it to lay in a self-watering system and tunnels for the actual urban garden that they're putting in. So we know where the money goes directly for certain organizations.
Yeah, Young Variety, a children's charity here in town, they've approached us to help raise money for a slide for an entire adaptive park that they're getting ready to build next year. So, crazy enough, a slide is about $7,000. So we have a goal of $7,000 to raise next year for Variety. So.
Question for you back here to the right.
First off, thank you very much for your time and your efforts. This is wonderful. We're lucky in Kansas City to have a number of different organizations that also strive to increase volunteerism and activity. Do you work with those organizations, and how would a nonprofit go about becoming a part of one of your events, or how do you approach them or select them? Is there a process for that?
Not an exact process. Sometimes we'll have an idea for an event, and then we will pick a charity ourselves. Or a charity will come to us and ask for specific, whether it's volunteer or they just want their events put on our social media networks. So it ranges.
Right. It started out with us just creating fun events that we thought our friends would go to, and then picking a charity or someone recommending a charity. A lot of times we'll ask our sponsors, which is how we found Cultivate KC. Boulevard recommended them. We met with them, fell in love, and decided to do it for them. But right now it actually just starts with sending us an email and say, hey, I'm with this charity and we're really interested and we're having problems with this. And then we'll set up a meeting, sit down, and we love to find out about your organization, find out where your needs are, because a lot of charities don't need an event. They may do great fundraising. They may need new members, which we've actually become a member of the Red Shoe Society with the Ronald McDonald House, just to help them actually get on new, younger members and things like that. So it just depends on what the charity's needs are, but we like to meet with every single one of them, find out what they're doing, and then we're all very creative, and we like to sit down and come up with really unique events around that, as you could see with the adult onesie benefiting sleepyhead beds. So yeah. This actually started with a birthday party I threw, and we had 30 people show up in onesies, and we all went out on them. I didn't know that was going to happen, so we decided to throw a onesie party that's kind of exclusive. I know the older people, we sound crazy, but it's a lot of fun.
People will go to this.
So, next question in the front here.
This is more of an observation or an idea. There is a whole group of people in Kansas City who are the Westport High School graduates who benefited from Mr. Kaufman's college scholarship program. So I think you should consider to invite that group of people to your Mardi Gras, and it might be a way of just bringing them back together, and some good fruit could come out of that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Question back here in the back.
Do you only help federally registered 501c3s or state registered charitable organizations
Currently,
or benefit corporations?
Currently, yes. We're actually, which is kind of hypocritical, because we're in the process of getting our 501c3, but we just received our letter saying they're reviewing it, and luckily enough, Post Nelly Shoe Guard helped sponsor us to do that. So right now, yes, we currently only help 501c3s because we don't really have any budget or have any money that goes through us. All the money we raise goes straight to that charity. We need to know that they are official charity through the government because we're raising a lot of money for them. So.
And usually to lock in any of our sponsors, we have to give them our 501c3. So right now we're actually depending on the 501c3 that we partner with and the charity that we actually raise the funds for. When we get to a place, hopefully in the next 6 months, that we've finally gotten our 501c3, we are more than willing to give to local cancer patients, just like we did this last year, and the opportunity to give to people who are also in need, which is a really awesome opportunity as well. Great question.
Question for you right here.
I love that you guys are involved with this younger demographic. I guess my question goes to how do you want to continue to stay in front of that demographic as you guys get older? I know that I'm involved with several different groups here in the Kansas City area, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Moxa, things like that, and they struggle to bring in younger groups like that. So have you considered, or are you involved with college campuses, things like that, or have you considered educational opportunities or educational seminars to high schools as maybe piggybacking off of what this gentleman said up there?
Absolutely, great question. We actually came to this question whenever we did a presentation about 3 months ago, and we all kind of looked at each other and we're like, wow, we haven't really thought about the fact that we will get old. So we can't do this forever. So we actually started, just as Beth had mentioned whenever we were talking specifically about our board and the way that we're looking for our growth opportunity through Social Heart, is we've actually already started looking at our board, and some of our board members, the next one that we just brought on is actually 23. Ideally, every time that a graduate basically comes out that we know is a young volunteer, we want to bring them on the board pretty much as kind of like a young advocacy position, basically to keep our organization young, keep the ideas fresh. I think it is a fabulous idea to go into high schools and do leadership programs and talk about how important it is to be involved in the nonprofit community once you do get out into the real world and what that can do for your personal success along with your career success. But ideally, we would just want to keep our board solid. We know that there's going to come a time when we need to phase out, and ultimately, we would love that if it could be 5 years and this organization could stand on its own. We want to create those young leaders that are going to stand up and do it by themselves as well. So it's really just finding that next young demo and looking at the perfect person and saying, hey, come be Social Heart.
And we're always open to ideas. If anybody has any suggestions like yourself that said, hey, go find great people like yourself at this, we love it. We want more people like us on board. So we essentially don't have to do as much work.
So I have an idea for you guys. I am a recent graduate of Rockhurst University, and they really pride themselves on learning leadership and service. And so part of the student experience is wrapped around service projects. And so you do hundreds of hours. I think like the school itself is like 2,000 students, but puts out tens of thousands of hours. But right after you graduate is kind of like, I start working,
Like, here, go
and
do
then
this,
yeah. So I'd be more than happy to link you up with the service office over there and try and help students transition out of college
Love
into
that.
the
That's
community.
exactly what we're trying to do. We more often than not, we have people at our events that come up to us at the end and they're like, you guys are doing awesome things, I want to help, and they just have this confused look on their face like, I don't know what to do, and it's like, we'll help you, like, it's okay, it's going to be all right. We'll give you something to do, and it's a growing process, so thank you.
Luke and myself actually come from the fraternity, sorority world whenever we were in college, and it's very, very similar that we had to have so many community service hours, and then when we graduated, we're like, what do we do? And I remember going out online, and it seems like it would be so easy to find resources to just go out and volunteer. It's not. You have to be, you have to sit on a board of directors. You have to give $5,000 a year. You can't just come to an event and support by giving $15 or by helping coordinate because you have a really great friend that works at a distillery that's going to give us a sponsorship. Like, those are opportunities to actually get involved in the nonprofit community that we can tap into in that younger demo. So yes, great point, and we would love that.
Next question in the middle.
I can see that you're building volunteers, and you're actually probably building a lot of loyalty to your organization, volunteers and donors, which is great that you're benefiting nonprofits. But as you move on to your next event, your next nonprofit, is there anything in your model that transitions volunteers and donors onto the organizations?
We actually, every single charity that we help and any charity that comes to us, they will give us all their events and any volunteer opportunities. We have a volunteer coordinator that sends out an email every 2 weeks with all the volunteer opportunities that have been sent to us. So we basically force it in their faces like, hey, here's the opportunity. You can if you want. If you don't have time, that's okay.
And kind of like Julie said, there's not really anything out there that lists all these charities. Like, I'm interested in this charity. Where is it? So we actually, every charity we help and every sponsor that helps us, we put it on our website. So there's a friends button on our website, and underneath that we actually have sponsors and friends. And under the friends is all the charities that we've been involved with. So anyone at any time can go on there and see all these different charities that they may be interested in. We link to their website. We link to their social media. We have a little blurb about them, and we have their logo on there. But we also send out emails all the time. When we're not throwing events, we're promoting other charities' events. And we have a volunteer coordinator, Lindsay Carroll, who's amazing, who actually helps coordinate volunteers just for other charity events. So when charities reach out and they say, hey, we need about 10 volunteers, Lindsay sends out an email to our volunteer database and says, this is what's going on, here's the time, and she coordinates them all to help the other charities.
I would like to give Leukemia and Lymphoma Society as an example. Julie actually ran 2 years ago, And then last year we had a mutual friend run, and then this year we had a mutual friend run. So it's been kind of it's been a progression.
Like, all of our friends learn about it and they are like, that's so great that you did that. I want to learn how to do that. And I think that your point is really great and your question is really awesome in that fostering program of bringing somebody into the organization that fits them best. But our idea is actually not to push one organization specifically, but to kind of be that, that liaison to the people who don't know what to do. That's why Luke mentioned at every one of our events, we take at least 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes 15 to 20, to actually speak on behalf of the organization. We have board members from that organization come and say what their mission and their purpose is, so that if you fall in love and you're in the audience, you can say, you know what, that sounds like what I've been looking for the last 2 years. And you can reach out, and that's your resource to ultimately get involved in the organization that meets your needs.
All right, we're just about out of time, but I want to give you one last opportunity. We always like to ask, what can we as a community do to help you guys?
Well, one big thing,
Help us find
sponsorships.
companies.
Yeah, Mardi Gras is going to be our biggest event that we will probably ever put on, at least for the next few years. And we need sponsorships big time to make this happen, because our goal is to raise $20,000 or more with this event. So.
Right. We have large sponsorship availabilities, which we have all that information. We're in the process of building a website just for Mardi Gras with all that information on there. But we have about 20 opportunities for companies to sponsor floats, or anyone really to sponsor a float, and as long as they have a 501c3 letter with the charity they're backing. So we're really looking for sponsors. We're looking for anybody who wants to volunteer to help Mardi Gras be a success in Kansas City. That's our biggest event, despite all the other events that we have going on. And so that could be, you know, we're learning a lot about throwing parades. And luckily the people from the St. Patty's Day Parade, Jan and Patty Alwood, they've been really awesome in helping us out with that. So they're great people as well.
So yes, we need people to come on board, no matter what company size you are. We would love it if you put in a float in the parade in the 2014 Mardi Gras. We can talk details, but it would be a fun opportunity for your company to also have some team bonding, because you would build a float together. Yay!
And just to clarify that the Mardi Gras event is not a one-time thing. We plan on building this every year and making it bigger and better. And
Just like all of our events.
Yes, well, yeah. But we want this to be like a signature Kansas City event and make it different, because we want to give to charity. So, thank you.
All right, get working on your floats.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great job. Okay, so we've got a few announcements real quick here in the middle. This is what we usually do in the middle. So first off, there's plenty more seats up here in the front. So if you're standing in the back, walk this way, because this is your opportunity that it won't be awkward. So first off, Code for America is back in town. We're excited to have them back. They're demoing their alpha version of their application, BizFriendly, actually right after 1 million cups. So from what I have heard, if you're interested in seeing that alpha version of that product right after 1 million cups, try not to stand around and talk too much. Go straight out this door, and then we're going to go over into labs, and they're going to demo their product over there. So definitely go over and support them. We're really excited about what they're doing. We have Gina with Tapacu. I think we get the slides up here.
Hello, I'm Gina Barrett, and I have a new product that just released in June that we have passed the first round of the Walmart Get on the Shelf contest. So we're looking for votes up through September the 2nd. And we were here in October doing a prototype Kickstarter. And just to let you know, we did launch in June with a full product manufactured right here in Kansas City for barbecuers who want to be able to view their temperatures and get alerts on their smartphones while they're smoking. It's a smart device that works with mobile apps, and we are selling right now online, and we're getting into our first stores, but we're trying to get into the Walmart online store. So thank you for your votes, and the QR code will lead you to the Walmart site.
Great, we're really excited about that. Former 1 million cups continue to blow up, and we're excited about that. So a couple other things. KC Next Happy Hour, August 15th at the Sprint campus, so check out KC Next, their website. Demystifying crowdfunding. Cameron has, where's Cameron go? There he is. Just blend into the, just giving another plug for Demystifying crowdfunding.
Okay, yes, Demystifying Crowdfunding. Unfortunately, the event is already full, but we are going to be doing a live stream of the event. This is going to be a morning event. We're calling it the Primer, and it's going to tell you a little bit about crowdfunding, from what is it to how do you do it, to is it legal, to how have other startups been successful to use crowdfunding. And then we're going to have the CEO of Indiegogo here. And you guys, wow, this was a really popular one. It literally filled up in 2 days. We had an overflow room that filled up in a day. So we are going to live stream that event. It will all be available on video afterwards. So look for that. That is Tuesday, August 27th. The primer is from 10 to noonish. And the CEO of Indiegogo will be here from noon to 1. The other thing I wanted to mention, you guys may have seen a slide up earlier about this, but the Raspberry Pi Foundation, how many of you guys know what a Raspberry Pi is? Not the thing that you bake. Okay, good. Well, this guy, Rob Bishop, it's actually run from a nonprofit in the UK, is doing a tech tour of the country, and he's making a stop in Kansas City. Now, he's here that entire weekend, so there's several different events going, but this is the one that I want to plug. It will be at Union Station Science City from 5:30 to 7:30. Science City closes at 5. They're going to reopen it for us at 5:30. He's going to come and talk about 1 year on what Raspberry Pi has meant and some of the progress that they've made in selling those devices, training people how to use them, educating people about the very basics of computing. So please register for that. We literally just got the Eventbrite up yesterday, and I think the press release is still to come out. So short time frame, but we hope to see you all Friday, August 23rd.
Okay, so a couple more real quickly. We're really excited that Lawrence, Kansas, and Columbia, Missouri launched their 1 million cups. Was it last week? Last week. We know that both of them had a great showing. So if you are a former alum of Kansas City's 1 million cups, we definitely want to encourage you guys. We want to kind of seed their pool of people getting to present out there. So if you're interested in presenting in another city, those are opportunities. So get with one of us, or actually go to the website, 1millioncups.com. Go to that city and register to actually present at those cities as well. Let's see what else we have here. Inventor Center meets at 6 p.m. on Kaufman next Tuesday. It's one of 2 paid events with speakers patenting your idea. Enroll or pay online at the door. Am I missing anything? We had a ton of. Oh, actually, I did want to make one more that we had this morning. So over at KC, former 1 million cups presentation is also getting ready to. I got to read this little card to make sure I have the date right. Getting ready to do one of their launch parties with a Quixotic. If you guys don't know Quixotic, I mean they're amazing performance crew here in town. So what is the date? It's August 14th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Midland. So go to overkc.com/launch for details on that. So I'm going to hand it over to Nate to get our next presenter.
Cool. So I'm really excited that I've gotten to know so many awesome entrepreneurs doing really cool things. And right when I graduated school, I bumped into Graham Ripple, who's your presenter, at a birthday party, I think. And I didn't have a job yet, and so I was listening to what he was doing with his first company, Life Equals. And so anyway, I've gotten to know Graham and done a few projects with him, and he's become a really good friend. I'm really excited that he's on to his next company called Paleo Fit, and he's going to teach you all about paleo and possibly feed you. So, all right, Graham, come on up.
Thanks, buddy. All right, my name is Graham Ripple. I am with Paleo Fit. We do prepared paleo meals. That's our company. So the number one question, of course, is what is paleo? Paleo is shortened for Paleolithic. The idea is, how did our Paleolithic ancestors eat? It's also, I mean, of course, you have this really strong caveman motif. It's also known as eating primal. It essentially is a really healthy way of eating. It is getting back to the roots. And the idea is that possibly this is how our body was designed to eat or evolved to eat. And so rather than eating McDonald's, all the processed food that we are, maybe some of the health issues that we're seeing is because of not eating the way we're designed to. And so really, I mean, it's a really easy way of eating. It's high quality fruits, vegetables, meats, seafood, nuts, berries. The main things that you're cutting: processed sugars, grains, dairy. And so when you think about, what sort of person would potentially be my paleo chef, it probably would be someone who looks a bit like this. I'd like to introduce you to my business partner, Dave. Dave is our culinary genius. He no longer has dreads, unfortunately. He looks a little bit less caveman-like. This is him now with some of our food. We're here just right now in Kansas City. The way we work, our customers order from us Thursday at midnight. We take the weekend to prepare the food, package it, and then on Mondays we have pickup locations throughout the city. So what I want to do is I want to tell you our story just to kind of catch you up to date of what we're doing. I want to talk a little bit about what I see happening with paleo in general, and then I want to talk about where we're going. So as Nate mentioned, I was with Life Equals, another great Kansas City company. Last October, we decided to do a CrossFit competition. CrossFit's something that I got involved with, that our company got involved with, and so we said, hey, let's throw the biggest CrossFit competition that Kansas City has had. With that, we wanted to do a paleo barbecue, and I did not want to cook. And so as we were talking about with a chef about doing this barbecue, let's go back. There's another trigger right there. As we started to do this barbecue, I just realized I didn't want to cook, and so I was talking with my CrossFit friends and realizing there was a need for potentially prepared meals. So we launched Paleo Fit meals back in October. It was really kind of a soft launch, hard launch in January. We had 3 pickup locations, one in the River Market, one in the Crossroads, one in Waldo Brookside. In May, we brought on a line of paleo snacks. What we realized is, of course, there's lots of people who want to eat paleo but love to cook. That the prepared meals isn't their thing, but snacks is a crucial part of the way that you eat. And so we brought on 2 snacks: clean jerky, it's grass-fed beef jerky, lightly seasoned, and then what we call a paleo pouch, which is that same beef jerky, Marcona almonds, walnuts, pistachios, dried cherries, dried cranberries, both apple juice infused. And so getting back to, just this last month, we now have 7 pickup locations. 6 of the 7 are at CrossFit gyms. They tend to be kind of a community that loves us. We oftentimes cater CrossFit events. And then we just started vacuum sealing our food as well. We switched over to vacuum sealing for a couple reasons. It's more environmentally friendly. It's more convenient for our customers. Shelf life extends from 3 days to over a week. Takes up less room. All of our bags are BPA free. You can boil them to heat up the food. You can cook them in a microwave if you want to, which actually both ways make it actually better when you cook it because you're cooking it back or you're reheating it back in the sauce. So that's where we are. The question now, of course, is what's next? Real quick thoughts on kind of paleo in general. I think paleo is one of those things that is rising in popularity, and with that, it's something that people either love or hate. And I think that there's actually kind of a lot of misconceptions around it. I think one of the reasons there's misconceptions is because of CrossFit. I love CrossFit. I do CrossFit, but CrossFit is such an intense workout style, and the people tend to be so passionate about it. That what's brilliant about CrossFit is that they've tied nutrition with the working out, and so that's why you're seeing guys who are you see CrossFit athletes and they are all ripped, and it's because they're eating really well. And so I think that they've done a great job of propelling paleo movement forward. But I think that what's happening now is that it's got enough of a user base that it's moving into kind of the general population. And the reason why is it's a really good way to eat. It's an anti-inflammatory diet, it's diabetes friendly, it supports weight loss. I can't tell you how many doctors, dietitians, nutritionists come up to me and request our cards so that they can give them away for their patients. It's not something that we're saying, hey, you should do. They basically support this diet and are encouraging us to do it. And so with that, this is what we're doing. We're in the process of rebranding from Paleo Fit Meals to Paleo Fit. With that, our website is being kind of tweaked to focus nationally. We already ship our snacks nationally, but our website's geared to Kansas City, so it's confusing for our customers. We're going to begin shipping our food nationally here in the next, I'm hoping, about 6 weeks or so. 3 to 6 months, all of our food is going to have nutrition information. This is something that lots of companies do not do, which seems ridiculous to me. And so we want to give our customers information, both about specifically our food as well as how they can eat paleo. And so we're going to have do-it-yourself resources. We're also working with a couple dietitians who are going to be remote coaches for us. So someone can come up to us and say, hey, I want to lose weight, I want to have a diabetes friendly, I want to just eat generally, or I want athletic performance. And our dietitians are amazing and will help them with that, both help them with eating our food as well as the food that they're currently eating. 9 to 12 months, USDA, we want to get USDA approval on our snacks so that we can sell them in wholesale accounts nationwide. We'd love to do grocery stores. We want to bring on additional products, more snack products. We'll bring on sauces, all sorts of things. And then last, I mean, the reason that we're giving all this information to people is we just really want to be partnership friendly. I mean, we want people to, we already see people in the health community wanting to work with us, and so we're like, we're just going to move in that direction so we can give as much resources away so that they can recommend what we're up to. With that, I mean, that's kind of my real quick go. There's our Facebook, Instagram. We'd love to have you follow us. You can send me an email personally, no problem at all. With that, questions?
First question over here to your right, actually.
I saw the USDA approval. What's that process look like for you guys?
Yeah, I've had kind of some initial conversations with USDA. Essentially, USDA approval is going to look like getting our commercial kitchen approved by USDA. And so then what they'll do is they actually staff a USDA inspector, whenever we're manufacturing our jerky. So we can sell right now our jerky directly to consumers, no problem, through our food establishment license. But as far as selling it to wholesale and then having it resold, we have to get that. We have to get it through them. Yeah. So and they've been great so far. I mean, we just had small conversations with them.
Question here on your left.
Yeah.
Actually, not so much of a question. Statement. Let's connect afterwards.
Cool.
I am coaching Ultramax's 15K team for the next 12 weeks.
Awesome.
I have a couple of clients that are personal trainers and a number of things around town that are totally in line with what you're doing right now.
Cool.
And I am also about 75 pounds thinner today from only eating what I can kill or grow.
Amazing. Man, I love you sharing that. It's amazing. I mean, I think that business is all about giving, right? And so it amazes me that I have our customers who just by switching to eating our food have lost 20, 30 pounds. And so I love that. Congratulations. That's amazing.
Question for you back here.
Yeah.
Where is your food manufactured? Is your commercial kitchen here in Kansas City?
Yes, it's down south. We have a commercial kitchen down south.
Okay, question up here in the front.
I love what you're doing. Cool. I don't know if you guys have done a lot of market research, but this concept and home meal delivery is huge in Miami. There's probably 20 or 30 of these companies that exist.
Yes.
I've done that quite a bit down there.
Yep.
Also, my other comment is, have you guys heard about the slow carb diet, the Tim Ferriss diet, which is very similar to paleo?
It is.
With a few different changes.
Yeah, that's actually, it's funny that I did the slow carb diet before I did CrossFit, and before I started doing like eating paleo. So that actually is like kind of what got me into it. And then, I mean, I think that they're incredibly paleo. I mean, I think that slow carb is so close to paleo. I mean,
yeah, I mean that might be another market opportunity for you. You know, to I mean, it's so similar.
Yeah,
really
that's
a
a good.
friction.
Even adding that tagline to it. That's good. I like that.
Excellent.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Next question to your left in the middle here. Will you reiterate what you are currently doing for deliveries or what you're currently doing for pickups and where are they located in town?
Yeah. Let me go back to it. I think I forgot to mention this. There's the CrossFit guy. Here we go. All right. This currently is our pickup locations. And so the way that we work, you order Thursday by midnight, and then your food is ready Monday. And basically we have kind of a pickup window. And so our 6 of these 7 are CrossFit gyms. The one up north is a chiropractic office that reached out to us and said, hey, we actually want to be a pickup location. And we said, great. We actually, with going to vacuum sealing, we're actually going to start home delivery here in the next, I'm hoping 2 or 3 weeks. Essentially, the part of what happened with vacuum sealing is that our packaging decreased by 50%. And so what it allows us to do is we're going to have basically whoever opts in for it basically will leave a cooler outside. Leave a cooler outside. We will come, put our food in there with some ice and then be gone. So you don't have to schedule a time. You don't have to text with your delivery person or anything like that. And I think that we'll do that on Sunday evenings is kind of what our customers are wanting. Does that answer your, yeah? Yeah. Sure, yeah. Essentially, the starting point's $10 a meal. And so you can get meal plans and it gets cheaper and things like that. But yeah, $10 a meal is kind of the base level. And you can order, I should mention, you go to our website, you can order everything a la carte. You can order things through meal plans. We have a standard menu of, I think it's 14 main dishes, 6 side dishes, and then we have weekly specials that we add in. We'll be expanding our menu shortly. Yeah.
Question for you here to the left.
Hi.
Hey.
Quick A and B question. One, how do we get in touch with you in order to order the meals? And are you planning on offering products and recipes online or something like that?
Sure. Yeah, let's see. Let me get to this is the best way. I mean, go to getpaleofit.com. It actually is going to reroute you to kansascity.getpaleofit.com, which is, again, our Kansas City focus. But that's where you'll order. And just get your order in Thursday at midnight. If not, shoot me an email and we'll probably work something out. That was question 1. Question 2 was recipes and stuff like that. Yeah, that's gonna be a part of our resources. Like I talked about, do-it-yourself resources and stuff like that. We're gonna start. We're of course not gonna give away the farm and give away all of our recipes. But we know lots of people like to eat at home, and that as we ship nationally, like for example, we have this amazing mango chicken salsa that we aren't gonna vacuum seal, and so we're like, well, we want to give that to you so that you can make our mango, our mango salsa, and then I say mango chicken, anyways, mango salsa that goes with chicken, and then you can make it at home. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing things kind of like that. Yeah.
A question up here in the front.
Great.
What's the competition landscape for what you're doing?
For us, yeah. What I've seen happen in the last 6 months, locally at bigger cities, there's more and more companies like ours that are basically doing local delivery of some sort. Some seem to be better than others. Nationally, there's 2 notable ones that are doing this. One is out of actually Florida. One is out of Atlanta. With both of them, what I see happening, from a shipping standpoint, we can ship to 75% of the country in 2 days here in Kansas City, as opposed to both of those being East Coast. And so that allows us to cut down on the amount of dry ice we're using, save on shipping costs, things like that. Neither one of them are giving nutrition information. They're actually really blatant about saying like, hey, what do they say? One of them says, our food is within 300 to 500 calories. That's all that they'll say. All of our food's different, 300 to 500 calories. And I'm like, that's a really big range. And 2, what about important things like the amount of sugar that's in it or carbs or something like that? And so we have kind of these 2 main competitors. That's all on the food side. What's interesting is that we're a dual company because we have these snacks as well. And so on the snack side, there's 2 major companies that have these snacks similar to us. And so we're trying to approach actually the industry in 2 different ways, and seeing them as cross-promoting. One is doing these snacks that, as we want to get in wholesale, the wholesale is going to sell our food, and then with the food, it's going to be the snacks are always add-ons to it. And so bringing on these snacks has been really interesting because we saw our average order increase because they're just like, well, of course I'm going to get your snacks too. They add it to it.
Next question in the middle.
Can you describe your process a little bit as far as, is it just you and your one chef extraordinaire creating, a bunch of chicken and then just filling the orders? Is the menu pretty extensive?
Yeah.
And then are you working with kind of local farmers in that, or are you just getting kind of the best deal wherever it is from?
Yeah. Our system is pretty complex. I mean, we cook for a lot of people. And so Dave is kind of the culinary genius. He does all of the recipes. Every week we have 2 to 3 chefs in our commercial kitchen cooking. We will have 4 to 5 packagers, volunteers helping us package every week. We will have 3 or 4 people helping us deliver. I mean, we have a fairly big operation. And the cool thing about paleo is that people who eat paleo are pretty passionate, and so We've found lots of people who are really interested in being a part of what we're doing. As far as sourcing, one of the things that's important about paleo is that you're wanting grass-fed beef, you're wanting organic chicken, you're wanting organic vegetables and stuff. And so we see another strategic advantage is that the fact that we're here in the Midwest and we're so close to so many food sources. And so getting started, what we've done is we've gone for the high quality meats, and organic vegetables and things like that. And now we're at the point where we're beginning to start individual conversations with providers so that they can source it for us. One of the things that we run into is volume, and so we can't necessarily work with an individual farm because we will need all of your flank steak. We need, so we have to be working with co-ops and things like that are a little bit bigger that can source from multiple places to keep up with our volume.
So I have a question over here. From a demographic standpoint, I know most of the people that I know that do paleo are mostly dudes that are into CrossFit, right?
Yeah.
That's just that's
Sure.
what I know paleo as now. And you talked about that a little bit. But I guess my wife and I have talked about it, and I've got 3 little girls. And so what does it look like when you start talking about how to do this for a family unit? And I know just from the fact that my wife is both a working mom.
Yeah.
And so thinking about the opportunity of having pre-made or somewhat prepared meals for the whole family, depending on the cost, is something that would be really a neat opportunity. And what responses do you have people doing anything like that, especially when it comes to kids? Because my kids love bread and they love milk.
Sure.
So what does that look like?
Yeah, that's a challenge. It's interesting from our demographic standpoint. I wondered, how many was it going to be CrossFit people? And we, of course, I'm connected with the CrossFit community, so it was a natural connecting point. What's fascinating is that I'd say about half of our customers do CrossFit, the other half don't. And I think that the CrossFit is going to become less and less, honestly, as we grow. Most of our customers are, I would say, mid-30s and actually female. There's lots of people who are buying for their families. And so I think that, in terms of family, buying for the family and stuff like that, I think it's really hard, especially because kids are conditioned to peanut butter and jelly and milk and things like that, And so I think that a first step would be kind of moving in that direction. I think any step in a positive direction is a good one, And so the idea of what does it look like for you as a family to embrace, one of our dietitians uses the language of paleo template, which I really like. And so this idea that from a base level, we want to eat generally paleo, but we understand that hey, PB&J is going to sneak in, mac and cheese, it's going to happen.
It's the pirate code, it's more of a guideline than it is a rule. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Question for you here.
Yeah.
Are you worried about the cyclical or kind of fad nature of most diets? Before it was Atkins and then South Beach and then slow carb and all that kind of stuff. Do you have a plan for addressing that?
That's the question, right? People right away are like, hey, have you tied yourself too close to paleo? The name of your company is Paleo Fit. 2 years, you're out, What's interesting, my response to that, when I hear people talking about paleo, I see them talking closer to vegetarianism rather than Atkins, right? And so what I mean by that is that people are saying, I'm going to eat paleo, I'm going to have a paleo template, rather than I'm going to do a diet for a specific amount of time to achieve a specific goal. Does it, And so I actually don't think the paleo thing is going away. I think that, and I really like the language of paleo template. I think that there are people who are making choices to eat in a certain way generally, right? And that's in line with kind of this paleo lifestyle. And that's why I see it kind of as a vegetarianism, akin to that. I'm paleo, I'm vegetarian. Yeah, so that's my guess. I could be wrong. You could, we'll talk in 3 years.
Question here in the middle.
Yeah.
I kind of have a question and a comment.
Please.
For those of us that are more senior to you, like my son, who is probably about your age, provides for us once a month a gift package from, I can't remember what the name, Harry and David's, and it's a fruit package. Do you ever see in the future you packaging something as gift products for parents of people your age?
Sure.
It's an extremely great idea because it's a very good idea for us because we really appreciate it, and it gives us a free meal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that as we move into shipping, that's just an easy like switch over, easy branding, easy like, hey, send mom and dad a paleo meal, and it'll be shipped directly to them, and we serve breakfast, lunch, dinner. I mean, we can serve, or for people, I don't know. I mean, in kind of a crisis situation where you want to send them healthy food. One of our customers started eating our food. He lost, I think, 20 or 30 pounds in a couple months. His wife just had, I think, their second child, and he's like, I just need to eat healthy. And so life was so frantic, he started eating our food, and it worked out. Yes.
So this is your second business,
It is.
and I'm always curious for serial founders. What did you learn from your first business, Life Equals, that you're applying now to Paleo Fit? What are some of the lessons to take away that some of the aspiring entrepreneurs in this room can learn from?
Yeah. Let me pause real quick. I just remembered we actually brought samples of our beef jerky. We can't be a food company and not bring samples. And so, are you guys get it? Yeah, it's all right. I just want to like mention that real quick, just so you don't like walk away and don't get samples. I think my big thing is to start. I think that our first Life Equals is an amazing experience for me, and I had some amazing co-founders that have been really gracious with this process even. And so I think that with Life Equals, we were young and ambitious, and we were a lot in our minds. And I think that there's something really wise about the lean startup idea of just like get something out there and then iterate on it and iterate on it and iterate on it. And so that's what we've been trying to do. I mean, if I had presented 6 or 5 months ago, I would have given this exact same vision. It's looked a little bit different, but I mean, this is what we wanted to do from the very beginning. But we're just taking chunks to get there, rather than, hey, I'm going to build this whole thing and then see if it works. Does that make sense? Like, I'm like cutting things, I'm just slicing things out. And so for like aspiring entrepreneurs, I'm like, man, just go do it. Talk with people about it. Don't be afraid of it. Just like throw it out there, see what happens.
All right. Well, everyone, give Graham a big round of applause. What's that? Oh, yeah. Graham, what can we do to support you? We always ask at 1 Million Cups, what can we do as a community to support you and where you're going?
Of course. I created a slide. So you want to help. Yeah, again, we're all about just like spreading the word. I think that there's lots of people who are interested, who know about paleo, who are interested in trying it out. And so I'm like, shoot, try it out yourself, tell people about it. Even if it's not eating our food, we really want to encourage people to consider eating this way. There are tons of resources and recipes out there. And so for us, I mean, it's like, hey, spread us Instagram, Facebook, tell your CrossFit crazed friend about us. If there are people that you're like, hey, this like Paleo Fit would be great for X, please introduce them. Send me an email, have them send us an email. And then last, I mean, we have these great snacks. I brought snacks with us. I have a square reader. If you love it, we'll sell you some today, no problem. Yeah, I mean, just check us out. I mean, I think that's kind of our big thing right now is getting the word out there. We've existed entirely on word of mouth. We haven't done any advertising, and we consistently get probably 2 or 3 emails from new customers every week who are just saying, hey, like, tell us more about this, which is a really phenomenal thing. And so my big thing is share us.
Awesome. If you didn't get to try the beef jerky, we have samples up here. We'll see you guys next week. Just a reminder, if you want to check out Code for America's alpha product, we are going to move through these doors into Kaufman Labs. Thanks so much for coming. We'll see you next week.